Good morning and welcome to another Wine Steward video. We're glad you're watching these things. We hope you find them informative, a little bit of hang loose, but especially informative to let you know what we're doing here at the Wine Steward lately, what events are coming up, what products are coming back in or are new to us. And so let's talk. Here are some food products that we're pleased to have back in. We've carried them before. Sage Derby, it's not just for St. Patrick's Day anymore. I say that because it's a beautiful green color. Let's turn it over so you can see it better. But it is in fact Sage Derby, not Sage Derby. I was once corrected by a very lovely English couple who said, no, it's Derby. I'm sorry, I get the accent wrong. But this is in fact made north of London in Derbyshire. And it is really delicious cheese that might look a little scary to you, but the coloring only is derived from a bit of sage. And so this is a soft, medium soft or medium hard cheese. And that's very mild and nutty in flavor, along with this little tinge of saginess and beautiful color. So check out the Sage Derby if you've never had it before. Imagine how this would look as a component on a cheese platter. It would really make everything look more cool. Anyway, so that's here, Sage Derby. Here are, in fact, our newly fresh roasted house roasted Marcona almonds. We bring them in from Spain. That is the main source of this particular better almond called the Marcona. And we fix them up here. We roast them and then to some we add herbs de Provence and olive oil and kosher salt. And then to others we add paprika, better known in Spain as pimentón. Pimentón is a very important product in Spain, and so we apply it to these Spanish almonds along with some olive oil and salt. So very, very tasty, hard to resist having a second handful. Good food products back at the Wine Steward. Let us now teach you a thing or two if you didn't know already. A few people last night certainly didn't know as we were joining a good group of people for dinner out at Terra Mia restaurants for the second appearance of Angelino. Angelino Sandri is one of our wine vendors, one of our favorite presenters of Italian wine. And along with his presentation, this former gondolier, actually he sold the gondolier business, but he still helps out the new owner by rowing those boats on Lake Merritt and up on the Napa River sometimes. Anyway, he also sings a bit. And so we were hearing and learning and also enjoying the occasional song from Angelino last night. And one thing many people learned for the first time was about something called Montepulciano. Well, many people have heard of Montepulciano, but there's a bit of confusion about what it is. So this was the first time ever, actually this was the second dinner where we did it, but this particular format was the first time ever that the Wine Steward has ever gotten to show the two different Montepulcianos in one seating. In fact, we tasted them right next to each other. This is Montepulciano from near the Adriatic on the east side of Italy. Italy shaped like a boot. Sorry, the map is a little blurry, but I think you get the idea. This is obviously Italy, right? And over on right, adjacent to the Adriatic Sea over here, that is on the east side of that country, is a place called Abruzzo. And above it, a place called the Marche. And those two places are the best known places for a grape called Montepulciano. Yes, Montepulciano is a grape. Well, let's go over the Apennines or Apennine Mountains, this vertebrae or spine of a mountain range that bisects most of Italy, north to south. And we'll go to the west side over here to Tuscany. And here we can also enjoy a Montepulciano. What? Montepulciano is also a place. Vino Nobile de Montepulciano is very near the hill town of Brunello di Montalcino, or Montalcino, the hill town. So there are two different hill towns down here in southern Tuscany, one of them called, place name, Montepulciano. What are we drinking when we are having that Montepulciano, the place? We are drinking Sangiovese. Sangiovese, beautiful, beautiful wine. We had these next to each other. They're about $10 apart in price. They're both wonderful, but they both have very, very different attitudes. Montepulciano, the grape, gives you darkness and structure, and it's very endearing to people who like Cabernet, I think. People who like Cabernet get it. They understand Montepulciano because Montepulciano, the grape, gives you tannins and nice dark fruit along with that, nice plummy dark fruit. This one from I Lauri is delicious in that way, and I call it kind of a fullback of a wine. It's sturdy and dark. And then this wine, which comes from Tuscany, made of Sangiovese, is more elegant. We started with this, then we had this. And what do you think the crowd liked better? They realized, even by buying up, even though they'd have to pay more for it, this wine, which isn't as big as this wine, was preferred. Now, I think they're both wonderful. They both did really, really well with the food, but it kind of depends on what mood you're in. Now, if it's the middle of the winter and you're having stews or other kinds of sturdy food, you would want this Montepulciano. If you're having a ribeye steak, wait, that's not light. You would have this lighter red wine along with it. But wait, don't we pair light with light? No, not in this case. A great ribeye or a bistecca fiorentino is going to be a perfect match for a middleweight Sangiovese like this. This cuts and relieves. It cuts through the protein, and you, along with that heavy steak, you don't necessarily want something big. You want levity, you want a reaction. And this wine was respected for that, being a very elegant red wine, Le Béarnais. Anyway, two Montepulcianos. One is the grape, one is the place. They're from opposite sides of Italy. Voila. Let's continue the idea of Wine 101 a little bit, shall we? And tell you that this wine has come back in, very familiar to many of you. A big favorite for hot summer days like we're about to have, and Sol Real is back in the house. This is Vino Verde, right? Can't you see that on the label? Well, let's say it right. How about that? Pronunciation lesson for you. Let's say Veenyo Vaird. Veenyo Vaird. Now, of course, my Portuguese accent is missing, but that is closer to the correct pronunciation, Veenyo Vaird. You can say Vino Verde if you want, and we'll know what you mean, but we want to just say basically that this refreshing wine, which is known for being inexpensive and slightly pétillant or frizzante, is back in the house. This uses the grapes Arinto and Loureiro, and I think Trechadura. Anyway, it's too dark in here to see, and these aren't my normal reading glasses. But beautiful Vino Verde, and the cool thing about Vino Verde often is that they are a little bubbly, as I already mentioned. Frizzante, trapped carbon dioxide in there, so it's not as fizzy as champagne, but it is refreshing that way with a half bubbly character. Rusty? Shh. Wait, let's keep this up and show you another form of Vino Verde. Let's stay in that area and tell you that this just arrived. This is called Calçada. Calçada is a Vino Verde, as I think you can see on that label. However, this has no bubbles. This costs a couple bucks more than this, and you might call it the more dignified version. This is a lot like drinking at Albarino from Galicia, Spain, which is just to the north of here. This Calçada is very elegant and pretty. I'm gonna show you one more wine from this area, another product of Calçada, but this is a Brut, Espumante. This is also called Vino Verde. If you read the fine print on the back, this is Vino Verde, I should say Vino Verde as well. Made of Arinto and I believe Albarino. Did I say Albarino? I said Albarino. Albarino is the way you kind of say, if you had a better pronunciation than me, Albarino. If you are in Portugal, which is, this area of Vino Verde is just south of the Rias Baixas area of Spain. So Albarino grows on each side of the Minho River there. And this is just to say that this is one of the best inexpensive sparkling wines I've had in a long time that I invite you to try. It's bone dry, it's a little smoky, a little creamy. It's really lovely blend of the typical white grapes of the Vino Verde region. And let's get that down too. Vino Verde is the name of a location. It's a wine region in northern Portugal. Okay, voila. Hey, you know what? Let's kind of stay there. I'm running out of room on the platform here, but let's show you this. Let's go over that Minho River into the land of Albarino, Rias Baixas, Spain, and tell you that this is back in the store, and this is one of the best gin and tonic gins you could ever have. Yes, a gin from the land of Albarino, and in fact, it uses a little bit of Albarino in the distillation, and it is beautiful. This is Nordes, and it is a great, bright, refreshing gin, especially designed for a gin tonic, as they would say in Spain. Back in the house, good gin. What else can we tell you about? Well, let's not go on too much longer, but let's tell you just about a couple of things that are on the wine bar menu this week, which, as you know, changes every week. You've heard of Sancerre, right? Well, let's go down the Loire River from Sancerre, and have another Sauvignon Blanc from a place called Touraine. This is Touraine. This appears in the white flight this week. It's by a producer called Delobel, but more interesting to me is it's from Touraine, plus another word, Wally. Yes, that's how, in fact, you say that. This is not the original home of Wally World, by the way, but O-I-S-L-Y is the home of some of the greatest Sauvignon Blanc in the world. It's simply not very well known because there's only 6 producers in this little sub-region of Touraine, which, as I said, is down the river from Sancerre. Well, why don't we have this Wally from Touraine, and then right after it, on the white flight, an actual Sancerre, so you can do some comparing. The nice thing is this costs several dollars less than this, but they're both beautiful. They're not the same. They have different attitudes. They're both Sauvignon Blanc, but I think it's fun to have one after the other and learn a little bit about the different types of Sauvignon Blanc from the Loire Valley. Every wine, every great wine is a good lesson, right? Finally, let's tell you about 2 wines that are in the red flight, which takes us all over the world. All 5 wines come each from a different country, and this time representing Italy is a wine from Vaird. V-A-J-R-A is how you pronounce that. I think I told you about it last week, but this time we're gonna get it on the menu. This is Vaird Nebbiolo, Langhe Nebbiolo, meaning it's Nebbiolo grape from an area called the Langhe, which is within Piemonte, Italy, northwest Italy. Well, this producer makes fantastic Barolo, which is made of Nebbiolo. It's the king of Nebbiolo, and this is an echo of that. In fact, if you were to have this blind, you might guess, as an astute wine drinker and sniffer first, that you were having a Barolo or Barbaresco. This is as good as some of the Barolos I've had, but it doesn't cost as much. This is a fantastic producer of Barolo, and this is like the second wine from that winery, Vaird. Fantastic with, fantastic especially with ossobuco, but it's wonderful with risotto, with creamy risotto as well, with maybe some fungi in there. This is another wine in the flight. This, in fact, is the end point of the red flight this week, and you are probably happy to see that good old Chateau de Montmirail Gigondas is back in the house. This is one of our longtime favorites. A vintage or 2 ago, they redesigned the label, to my disappointment, because I like it when things stay the same sometimes. But this wine is consistently great. A Grenache Syrah Maubec blend from a beautiful place called Gigondas near Châteauneuf-du-Pape in the south of France, the Rhone Valley, we call it. This is I think, the headliner of this delicious red flight, which takes you all over the world. And you can go all over the world by tasting it if you get your butts up here. So let's see you at the wine bar soon. And in the meantime, ask about these new Veenyo Vairds that have come into the store. We still have to get them on the shelf, but they'll be on the shelf by the time you're here, I'm sure. And don't forget that great gin that we have. If it's gin and tonic weather, you should try out Nordace in this beautiful bottle. Check it out. Thank you very much, and have a great one.